It's all good. It's all good.
Welcome to the Out of Home Insider Show. Today's guest is none other than Matthew Olivieri, CEO of AdSemble. AdSemble is really changing the landscape of out of home, especially for sellers. I'm calling it the Uber of out of home, and Matthew's going to tell us all about that today. Matthew, thanks for being a guest on the show.
Super pumped to be here, man. Thank you, Tim. First and foremost, dude, I just want to say props to you. Thank you. I saw on your profile you served in the Marine Corps, man. God bless you. Thank you for your service to our country. That's incredible. Every time I meet a veteran, I'm just so indebted to them for that. So I definitely want to put that out there. And then in the midst of everything going on, I just also want to take a quick moment to say that, you know, our hearts and our thoughts are with George Floyd's family and Black Lives Matter. We are 100% backing that movement and totally endorsing police organizations just getting more educated on all these kind of things. We got to stop this 100-year-old thing that keeps happening. It's really been tugging at our heartstrings this whole last week, seeing just everything happening on the heels of coronavirus. It's just like 2020 can't get any worse, you know. It's just like crazy. So, but excited to be here today speaking to you about the at-home industry and what we're doing and what we're excited about in it. So ready for the tough questions. I know you're going to grill me hard. So
absolutely. Well, I'll do my best. and to echo the opening thoughts there, especially right, you know, to see the communities, and there's so many of the communities that, you know, that typically they're on the top 10 DMA list, right? That's how we know them. But there's real communities with real causes at stake here. So I appreciate you mentioning that, and obviously we fully support a peaceful push forward, and hopefully out of home can be a part of that. I think that out of home is going to be a really important vehicle in that. Matthew, tell everybody about what does AdSemble do. You know, there's lots of these little type of networks, but your approach is kind of different. So tell me about why you started AdSemble.
All right. So our origin story dates back to 2008, probably the best time to start a company, right? Right when the whole economy bottomed out. But when you finish school and you're kind of like, you got the entrepreneurial bug biting you. I mean, I was born and raised out here in San Jose, California, repping the Sharks right here. And you know, heart of Silicon Valley. So everybody around here has a business plan. I always think that, you know, if you're in Hollywood, everyone's got a movie script. If you're in Silicon Valley, everyone's got a business plan for a startup company. And my idea really came from traveling overseas and seeing digital billboards and signage and screens everywhere I went. I was in Asia and Japan, and then I was in Europe for a little while, and I saw all these things. And when I came back to the States, I was in my dorm, and I was kind of thinking about, you know, how could McDonald's put up an ad, 2 cheeseburgers, 99 cents across all these billboards, all these signs. And I came to find out that it was just super hyper fragmented. This is something that has now been shared on other episodes of your pod here from other founders of startups that came after us, where just the fragmentation of the space was just insane. And so couldn't find a solution that stitched it all up, made it easy for a brand, big or small, to log in and do point and click, show me all the billboards available, let me button them up, let me do a single buy, and streamline that process. So I got some friends together and we set about building a database of these locations to streamline that process. Like I said, 2008 was a terrible time for the whole world, but especially financially speaking, you know, things had really come to a screeching halt. And so when we launched that site, very optimistic that it would just take off, it just flatlined. Like there was no transactions, there was nothing happening. It was pretty gloom and doom. And so I consequently lost my 2 initial co-founders. They had to move on to other things to pay bills. And, you know, I've always been a blue collar, kind of roll up my sleeves, dig in kind of guy. So I just committed myself that there was something here, but I had to give it some time to maturate, to kind of be possible. So I started working, you know, nights and weekends. I took a job, you know, washing dishes at like this Italian restaurant down the street from my parents' house. I did graveyard shifts and construction. I did anything I could to afford myself the daytime working hours to put on a suit and go knock on doors and tell brands and tell advertisers that I'd built this website where they could do this billboard buying process and really streamline things. And so our breakthrough moment came with a professional sports team here in the Bay Area, MLS club called the San Jose Earthquakes. And it took me about probably 25 times of knocking on that door. And, finally, I always tell people that, Starbucks is your best friend when you're trying to get your foot in the door somewhere, right? Because who's going to turn down like a hot coffee, right?
Sure.
So took a couple of coffees over there. I just would not leave the lobby until they finally agreed to meet with me, and they did. And the guy there, who's I've become really close with now, all these years later, was basically telling me like, hey, we had like no sales, right? This is kind of a little bit of a funny story. But he was basically like, hey, I must have been a really good pitch, because he was like, well, we're probably, we're a brand new expansion club. We just came back to MLS in San Jose. So we don't have like a big budgets to work with. Probably a lot smaller than other customers you deal with. But what can you do with like $15,000? And, in my mind, I'm thinking like, holy shit. So I had to put on like my absolute best poker face.
Serious face.
Yeah, I had to be like, wow, yeah, man, that's not that much. Let me go back to HQ and like crunch some numbers and see what we can put together as a media plan for you, and I'll get back to you. And little did he know that HQ was like my parents' house, right? Like the bedroom, that I grew up in, and still had to move back home because I didn't have enough money for so many things, including another place to stay. So went back to my broken down Acura Integra at the time, and I just had this celebratory moment all by myself. One of those great entrepreneur moments where like nobody's around to enjoy it. You just get to enjoy it yourself. It's like total validation for what you're doing. It was such an epiphany moment, such an awesome moment. And so all these years later, we have been able to grow that particular account. We now handle everything that they do exclusively in all facets of out of home. It's pretty awesome. And we've been able to grit a bunch of other brands, grow that kind of concept in the similar fashion, where we do all of their out of home today. And it's been pretty cool to see that, again, that validation. So origin story started as just like a curiosity thing, like how do we unfix this Rubik's Cube? And now present day, we're on to other unique challenges and other opportunities in the out-of-home space.
Nah, that's pretty cool. And so there's other players in the market. And I think that what makes your setup such a unique interface is that it's just it's really freaking easy. I poked around on it a little bit. It's really easy to use. Is that the same experience throughout, whether you're an enterprise brand or a small local business, or did you just set it up that way for me? Like,
yeah, we actually had my engineers make a custom login just for Tim. No, it's the same through and through. And that really comes back to my basic understanding of the space. I love this industry. I've been in this industry now for going on almost 12 years. According to LinkedIn, I get the alerts telling me how long I've been at my own company. But I understand that the industry or the old way that the industry operated, with a lot of agencies buying the media and buying out of home, and the way that the big three, Lamar, Outfront Media, and Clear Channel, and if you throw in JC Big Four, I understand how they traditionally maybe sell it through spreadsheets with certain ratings and things of that nature, and they like to slice and dice. There's obviously a place for that. There's obviously a need for that, and agencies at the very top of that funnel need that information, want that information. That's the only way they'll buy it. But when I came into the space, I had so much simpler questions about how to just get an ad on a sign. And that story about the earthquakes and other clients of those brands, they were also in my initial R&D of going out and figuring things out. They were also asking those very simple questions. Okay. So, I think what can sometimes get a little bit challenging when I see what's being reported in the industry and stuff like that is, people putting out there, oh, you need to be able to slice and dice it and do this and do that and do this. And the conversations I have and that we largely have as an organization with so many of our users is just like, let me like do a radius around like a zip code. Let me find what's available. I know my own backyard. I know the types of people that live in those areas. Let me put up ads and operate this from a very simplistic point of view. To your point, I think what we'll see in the future will be add-on features, or rather kind of like an advanced part of our open display platform where you can do advanced triggers, advanced filters, kind of cross-reference the inventory by demographics and other things, day partying that you may want to do. But I mean, initially, to get that person to put that first dollar into the bucket, my personal experience has just been they just want to know where the locations are. They want to see what it looks like. They know the area, and they want to be able to pull the trigger very quickly. And so that's, we wanted to start with a baseline product that could serve that need, and then grow it based on agency demand or higher level brands that are demanding those additional filters or ways of sorting the locations.
Right. And that's one of the things that, coming into out of home as an outsider, as a digital marketer, where every digital marketing platform just makes it really easy to spend money. I was kind of looking around for that too, right? Like, why does this have to be so hard? Why is it spreadsheets and all this other stuff? And
right.
And right. So you've got this mechanism that makes it really easy to spend money. How have you found the response from, like, you know, the professional sports teams and big stuff is awesome, but like small local businesses that maybe haven't done out of home before, or they've done it before, but they didn't really know what they were doing. Is AdSemble built for that too? How do you guys interact with like the small business community?
That's a really perfect question, because that is actually what our whole focus is. It's the long tail. It's every small business in America being able to feel empowered to open up a web browser for Google ads, a web browser for Facebook ads, and a web browser for open display billboard ads. That is our vision. That's our dream. And so that to be able to make it a single page checkout where someone can easily come in, plug in a name, plug in a credit card, search for locations, upload a single ad that auto adjusts and scales to different signs that are out there. That's what we've been able to build, and that is what we are seeing small businesses across America do. And the most encouraging thing is just seeing these people go out to where these out-of-home locations are and take selfies in front of them, and then post it on social media and tag us like, you know, thank you so much for making this so easy for me. AdSemble Open Display. If you're a business owner, you need to get on this. AdSemble Open Display. And so, and these are small business owners that are, you know, they're strapped for time. They don't have massive budgets, but they have a desire to test out the space. And the most rewarding thing for me is just helping those business owners that maybe possibly tried to call like one of the major media suppliers direct, and that media supplier just kind of sniffed them out like, oh, this is just, you know, what, they don't even have a really functional website. They, you know, they got 10 followers on Instagram, or they probably not working with big budgets. I'm not even going to waste my time. You know, you see that time and again. And I think we're making our website a safe haven for those businesses to not feel judged, and to feel like, hey, I might only have $20 a day, but I can put up a billboard and see what that experience is like for my business, and get excited that my friends and family can see me doing big things. And that's what we're all about.
Right. Because it's a radically underserved piece of out of home. Even in my experience, you know, being at a larger outdoor company, yeah, we're judging that phone in. What's the budget? Oh, he's got $500 a month. No, man, give it to somebody else. So then it gets passed down to like the low man on the totem pole, usually right. Somebody with the least amount of experience. Maybe it's not a great experience. Expectations aren't set the right way. And you've got all these small business owners then who could potentially be spending lots of money in out of home that aren't. So you've created this ecosystem, a safe place, like you said, for them to come and interact. But I like your approach with the ambassador program. We talked about it in the open, the Uber for out of home.
Right.
How are you using the gig economy kind of mindset business model with these small businesses? I think there's a lot of people listening right now that would find that pretty interesting.
Well, what that origin comes back to is I was sitting outside a local coffee shop here in the Bay Area, and we've seen an explosion of user sign up for our open display platform. That's our buying platform for digital out of home, where anybody can sign up and do this. We've seen thousands of people across the country, small business owners, create accounts, poking around in there, creating campaigns. Now, a big portion of those users we've observed will initially sign up, but not put through a campaign maybe initially at first. And so I was really kind of scratching my head on that, because I know we've made the checkout process super easy and straightforward. So, what is the holdup there? Why are they not putting a campaign through? Like, why did they create an account and they're just sitting on it? And so we're not in a position whereby we can run out and just hire lots of different sales reps on traditionally hire sales reps in every market across the country where these users are signing up, because they're signing up across all of the United States. And so I was really kind of like thinking about, how can we get more support people on board who can just simply reach out to these users and offer assistance to help them walk through the checkout process. And as I was sitting there, I literally observed a DoorDash person walk in to grab some coffees, presumably for somebody who had ordered this coffee on DoorDash app. And then literally as that person was leaving, like an Uber driver pulled up and dropped somebody off at that same coffee establishment. So I'm sitting there watching this and I'm thinking, holy shit, man, why hasn't anybody created a gig economy approach to out of home where anybody can sign up and help these users walk through this process and get paid every time they put through a campaign? And that was literally the basis for my theory that it could happen. It could work that way. We just have to kind of flush it out and think through all the different angles of setting that up. And so that's what we set about doing. And so we call it our Open Display Ambassador Program. And it literally, anybody who has just a desire to be helpful, you don't have to have a background in out of home. If you have a background in out of home sales, if you're like an account executive at one of these firms right now, and you're making anything less than 20% commission on every transaction, you should check out our ambassador program, because it's really designed for anybody to do this. But if you have an out of home sales background, you will kill it. We are getting tons of leads every single day. And when I say leads, I mean like new users who are signing up. And so when a new user signs up, we put this person's information on a private group so that it's secure and it's only out there for people that are part of this ambassador program. And any single ambassador can reach out to one of these people and offer them a friendly invite to go through the program, go through Open Display, and help them check out. And so the unique thing that we came up with was, not only does that ambassador get credit and a commission on the first transaction that goes through, but if that same user keeps coming back and doing more transactions for the next 12 months, that ambassador continues to get credit and commission on that user. And so it's kind of like Uber maybe on steroids, because you're getting residual income from the people that you're helping out. And since we put that program out there, we have seen people who have never even thought about out of home or digital out of home, the industry, sign up and start walking people through this process. And so we're opening up brand new doors to new folks on both sides, right? Businesses that have never felt like they can play in the space are getting access to being able to do billboard advertising and out of home advertising. And then people who have never even thought about working in the out of home industry are signing up to be Open Display ambassadors. And now all of a sudden they're becoming experts on out of home. And the story I shared with you with my personal trainer, I have a personal trainer who, because of COVID-19, his business has been shut down. He can't train people in his gym. And so he called me and he said, "Hey, do you still have that program where, I can walk people through your guys' app and get paid?" And I said, "Absolutely." Never done out of home before, never even been on his radar to do billboard ads. He came into the program, instantly started reaching out to people, and within a few weeks, he had already helped process like a dozen campaigns. And you get paid out through direct deposits to your account. It's all streamlined through the Open Display Ambassador app that we give you access to, and payments come directly to your account. So we've really figured out a way of just completely streamlining the process. And now my personal trainer is like, I don't even know if I'm going to go back to doing personal training. He's like, he's having a great
billboard
time.
Guy.
No, he's all of a sudden, he's like, going deeper down, like wanting to know about all these different things. It's awesome, man. It's just like super awesome to see. And we got a lot of stories like that already. So yeah, it's a killer program. I'm really pumped about it because of the doors it's opening for people. But what it's ultimately helping us do too is just, get people in different parts of the country. I mean, you're back east in Jersey. I'm out here in the Bay Area. We have ambassadors now in different parts of the country. And my personal goal is to have 1,000 ambassadors by this time next year.
How many do you have right now?
Right now we are closing in on 25. We just opened up the program less than 3 or 4 months ago. So
I'm going to send you a calendar for today, next year.
I want that accountability, man.
We did that with Josh Cohen. We're going to hopefully, have a fireside chat in Midtown Manhattan next May.
I would love to be there to announce this.
For sure, man. It's going to be cool.
Because we just barely opened it up, the program. And because of COVID-19, we've seen new people signing up, registering it. And what I'm hoping is opportunities like this, being on your pod and other PR that we can get, will help us to create, virality where more and more people sign up and tell their friends to sign up and stuff like that. And so I'm hoping exponentially that we'll start seeing, droves of people wanting to opt into this, because we got a lot of users to call. We have a lot of people signing up every day for open display accounts. And I just want people interacting with them and helping them through this process.
For sure. Right. And I signed up as an ambassador a week ago. I'm going to make sure that I put the link in the show notes. So anybody is interested in learning more can just go right there, find out more information. And dude, it's legit. Like, I'll give you the testimonial right now. It's totally legit. The leads come in, and I've had very, very qualified conversations with leads that you're generating. I didn't need to do anything other than pick up the phone and get someone excited about doing billboards.
Right.
And that's the other thing too, is not only have the conversations been qualified, these folks have never done any sort of out of home before. So I want to thank you personally, because you're introducing it to people that haven't done it before, and you're doing it in a way that they really get this kind of white glove experience. They've got someone to kind of walk them through. It's not like some of the other marketplaces out there where it's all online. It's just a computer, and hopefully you figure it out, and maybe you do and maybe you don't.
Right.
In this case, you're introducing it to people who've never done it. You're making it feasible for small businesses to do billboards, and you're giving an opportunity to people that just want to make a side hustle income, or maybe even a potential full-time income. I think that's pretty awesome. So I can say for sure, everything that Matthew has described is 100% legitimate.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And sure. I know I shared this talking point with you, that if you work in sales, like, I'm a natural born and bred salesperson. That's what I love to do. That's who I am. And the lifeblood of salespeople are leads, right? Warm opportunities that it's really hard to just pick up a phone and cold call somebody, especially if they're not interested in the service or they're not asking for the service. That becomes a very challenging thing for a lot of people who are timid or shy to put themselves out there and try to introduce a new concept. But when you have all these people already coming to you, signing up, and just, literally our website says, do you want to get a phone call? I think that's important to clarify. If you want a phone call, if you want someone to reach out to you, put in your email, put in your phone number, and somebody will. And these leads that are coming in, these users that are signing up, are that we're supplying to the ambassadors, are only those people who are opting into that experience. So being able to have this many people opt into that experience, we just need lots of ambassadors across the country that are willing to just be ready to grab those people and reach out to them. And so I think in terms of what a salesperson's looking for, a good payout, a fun experience, and warm leads come into their plate every single day, I mean, we're locked and loaded. So I appreciate that testimonial for sure.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this way, right? Maybe there's an entrepreneurial seller listening right now. Could I potentially, right, be an ambassador and bring my own clients onto the dashboard and extract that 20% the same way?
100%. Yes. 100%. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean,
it's, if you have a Rolodex, if you come from, let's say you worked in the newspaper background, or you worked in TV or radio or anything of that nature, and you have these really good lifelong relationships formed, you could absolutely sign up and bring and introduce those people to out of home and digital out of home, and have them sign up and get paid in the exact same manner. And if they keep coming back and doing campaigns, again, you're just going to keep getting auto deposits to your account. What coronavirus has done, I think, for so many businesses is it's put us all to the test to figure out this new economy overall. Like, what are you going to do to pivot and survive? And so, I had this idea that, observing these other businesses. So I'm not the first guy to come up with a gig economy opportunity,
right.
In overall. I do take great pride in being the first guy to apply it to the out-of-home industry, because I've never seen it done before personally.
Sure.
And maybe nobody else has ever thought of that before, I don't believe. And so I take great pride in bringing it to our industry. But I think it speaks to just this new age economy where people are looking for things that they can jump into and try out and build new skill sets. And like I said, in the case of like my personal trainer, I mean, the guy is an expert personal trainer. And if you need a fitness regimen and you need a diet plan and all those things, like, he's got you 100%. So in this time window, he was really struggling to pay his bills.
Yeah.
I think giving him something that he could opt into, and then he could just like figure some things out and run with it and start making money from it. I really believe like you're going to see more and more of that, even as we come out of like post COVID-19. You're going to see more and more people who are grittier, who want to try things out, who want to jump into things, sample them. If it doesn't work out, it's all good, move on. And so, maybe that's an open challenge to everybody in our industry to figure out other ways that this kind of thinking can be applied to what they're doing.
A lot of the big outdoor companies, even the smaller independent ones, is programmatic. Is programmatic going to wipe out my sales force? No, what's going to wipe out your sales force are ambassador programs by AdSemble that pay 20% instead of your paltry 6% because you think you're doing somebody a favor. Like, the threats to the fundamental business are exactly what you just described. And it's that people are going to want to create more for themselves. They're seeing that this dependency on the traditional, work environment is kind of one way, right? And there's security up to a point. So creating something for yourself is really the ultimate security. Yeah, I think that you're going to see more, either more ambassadors or more companies make that pivot. But I think that it's going to be the former that happens first.
Right.
And,
right.
You've already got it. You've got the leads coming in. Where can people go to find more information out about the ambassador program? Maybe they're listening and driving right now. Again, it's going to be linked in the show notes, but tell us where to find all the good stuff.
Just adsemble.com/ambassador. Simple, real super simple.
Kind of theme,
and
right?
It's got all the information that you need. We have an FAQ. We have it broken down, shows you everything. Basically, you ultimately create an open display account for yourself. And then what we do is you apply to be a part of the program, and then you get when you get accepted, you get upgraded. So when you log into your open display account, you have additional resource links on the left-hand side, shows your earnings. There's a resource center in there with training videos. So that's the other cool thing too. I really want to mention this as well. A lot of people who do enter into sales programs at any type of company, the training that you get is usually very, very limited at best. And I've talked to thousands of salespeople now through online forums and in person. I've met with people, okay, over the years, okay, and that is separately from hot leads. That's the number 2 thing on the list that they're most frustrated about. I wanted to be a salesperson. I was super hungry to be a salesperson. I signed up at company XYZ to be a salesperson. They gave me no leads and they gave me no training. How do they expect me to be successful? So they quit. They burn out after 90 days. All right. Now, if you're a small business owner listening to this, or you own a media network and you're thinking about hiring a bunch of employees on payroll to be salespeople, like, more power to you, but you've got to have a sales training program in place that educates these folks and builds them up to be successful. And then you got to have hot leads coming in that you can spoon feed them. They're like little babies. You got to nurture them. And unless someone's already coming into the game with like 25 years experience and a fat Rolodex of clients, like most salespeople, especially if they're putting their toe in the water for out of home, like, you got to nurture those people and build them up. And so a big thing that I've heard from so many people is just like, yeah, I tried selling billboards one time. I quit after 90 days because there was no leads and no training. The number one thing that you're going to get out of our ambassador program is you are going to get training. You're going to get resources on videos where we walk you through the platform. We're constantly going to be adding to that. And as you move up in the program, what I mean by that is we actually have tiers and bonuses and things like that. So if you really start performing well, you will get invited to receive additional training on higher level things as you become ready for it. We have access to every kind of out-of-home media that there is. Does that mean someone brand new to the out-of-home game should instantly be exposed to all the bells and whistles of everything? I mean, it's like way too overwhelming. You'll just get steamrolled by that, right? So we start you off with some Gerber food, if you will. Like, we start you off with some baby food, get you into a simple platform. You're walking users through a single checkout page, super easy. You start having success with that. Now you get some bigger quality leads where they're asking for bus shelters, or they're asking for movie theater advertising, or they're asking for this, that, and the other thing. And then those individuals, as they're ready, can get turned on to more training and more other things that they can sell, and more, things that they can provide. So the training aspect for myself is the number one most important thing. I've heard a couple of other guests on your podcast say things of the nature of, like, if someone comes into their company and leaves, they want them to be a better person, right, from the time that they spent. And I couldn't agree with that more, right? I mean, everybody's time is valuable. Everybody as a human beings are important. That's the point of, the first message I made here on the episode at the beginning. So investing in people to help groom them and build them up to something that they didn't know how to do. One of our core values is learn something new every single day, right? Learn something new every single day. You should go home at the end of the day, even if you're in sales and you didn't make a transaction today, you didn't make a sale, but you learn something new about the space or the platforms like that, then at least, checkbox for the day. You're leveling up every single day. And that's the underlying reason why we do all of this. It is not just to help a person put a billboard up. Like, anybody can do that. There's lots of services to do that. And we're not even the first company that invented that idea. It is to 100% bring people together in the space, get them excited, show them how magical this whole process can be. And then in the background of all of that, you have, ambassadors that are leveling up their education and their sales game. You have buyers who are learning about an industry and a space. So everybody's growing and everybody's learning. And that's, to me, that is like euphoria. And that's what gets me out of bed every day, is that process.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I definitely encourage, if you're listening, check out the ambassador program. Again, like, the fact that they're qualified leads, it's kind of work as you want. It's a side hustle. It can be a full-time thing. I listen, I'm just enjoying the flexibility. It's in between the shows. It's in between picking up my son, grab a lead, make a call, shoot a text. It's super flexible for me. From me, thanks.
Dude, I really appreciate that, man. And I do find that to be an interesting dynamic of what you just pointed out, right? It's flexible. You don't have those pressures of a quota, or a sales manager giving you, the stink eye because, you'd only brought in X number of sales last month, right? if you remove all those pressures from people, people tend to operate a lot better. Okay. And so that's 100% what we found is people are liking this ambassador program and it's working, and more deals are coming through, more campaigns are happening because these ambassadors are feeling like in between, a family thing, late at night, we have ambassadors that send emails out and shoot text messages and things like that, all hours of the day and night, and so and on the weekends too. I mean, there's really like this idea of a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 is the only time that I have to drive myself into an office and sit down and make calls. And boy, I hope the boss doesn't see that I didn't make my quota this month and all that bullshit. Fuck that, man. Those days are done. Those days are done. This is the new economy, 2020, post-COVID-19. And this is why Uber and DoorDash and Uber Eats, this is why that shit has been successful.
Sure.
So in some ways, it's like the writing is on the wall. Why aren't more people receiving the message? I guess maybe that's the open-ended question there, right?
I guess we'll find the answer. So 1 year from now, we'll find out 1,000 ambassadors.
That's what we're doing, baby.
Check the show notes. You'll find the link there. We'll link back to everything that Matthew's got going on. He's got a great podcast as well. I encourage you to check that out. We'll link to that as well. Sure. Ad Hero Podcast, right? And Matthew, it's been awesome, man. Thanks for everything that you're doing. I think that you're really doing important work, especially right now in time where 40 million Americans unemployed. I'm sure they're all Americans, not un-American. 40 million Americans unemployed.
We want to hear from you. If you're one of those 40 million, check out the
I promise you, whether you've sold out of home or you haven't, Matthew's made it just really, really freaking easy. All the training's there, the leads are there. It's just a matter of carving out a few minutes to do it. So
thank you,
Matthew,
sir.
Thanks, man. Stick around after I bid our guests adieu here. I've got to get your address, send you the swag. But if you found this episode helpful, please share it with somebody. Make sure to click subscribe down below. And as always, if you want to get swagged up, check out oohswag.com. Use promo code INSIDER for 10% off your first purchase. And we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.